When the Cairo conference and the outcomes and the action plan from that conference is a very large agenda. So maybe we just want to talk a little bit about the whole situation of gender equality and women's empowerment. And in that regard, I think the Caribbean has made some significant progress. I think one of the areas that we cannot miss is the ways in which women have taken advantage of opportunities for education. And that has been pushed in many respects by all the UN conferences as a vehicle for promoting gender equality and women's empowerment. And it has paid off in the Caribbean in some respects. I think it has in terms of the population issues, it has resulted in many countries in the Caribbean, the English-speaking Caribbean now I refer to, in reduced fertility rates, definitely. Also, although they say it's kind of stagnant now, in reduced maternal mortality rates. And they're trying to understand right now why it is no longer declining, but has sort of reached a point where the rates are stagnant. But that's yet to be resolved. It has also, of course, resulted because women are more highly educated in improved situation for their children and their families in terms of issues like children's nutrition, children's education, and so on. But there's also the flip side to that. Because although we have seen those social gains, I think there are many ways in which women continue to be disadvantaged. We have seen, for example, increasing feminization of poverty, more women falling below the poverty line. Although not a negative part necessarily, the whole thing of increased numbers of female-headed households with the burden of economic responsibility and care for the family being placed on women, increased responsibility for elderly members of their families as well, and of course higher unemployment rates in spite of their higher levels of education. And we have all the vulnerable populations, of course, that we need to be concerned about, whether the disabled women, adolescents, particularly adolescent girls, and very high levels of teenage pregnancies,